for a player like Doolsta, this event means so much because this is kind of his season in a couple of days. If he doesn't perform well here, then it's over.
This is his first LQE as well, Mark. We saw him at FUT Champions Cup 1, where he went out in the Swiss 2-3, and we saw him in Atlanta, FUT Champions Cup number 4, where he went out in the Swiss 2-3. So we're seeing a pattern emerge. He's just not being able to break out of that Swiss format, and I feel like a strong start against the likes of Pina would be massive for him.
It would be huge for him, but how stacked is this PS4 bracket here in London? In my opinion, it's the most stacked PS4 bracket we've had pretty much so far in FIFA 19. We have 6 of the top 10 players in the world in attendance here. So getting out the Swiss format is going to be an achievement in itself for these players.
It shows the consistency of these players as well. We've seen it throughout the season. I've been very surprised that it's been the same players every single event. And we see a couple crop up, a couple of new players who suddenly show up and dominate. Tuga, for example, it's a phenomenal story for him to be able to show up to an event and get second place. But it's just been seeing these same names time and time again, and they're back again in London, and they just want to be able to show what they're made of. And these events are some of my favorites because we get to speak to the players, we get to see how they're feeling. I'm buzzing for it.
Here we go then. First game of the day, the first game of the Gfinity LQE here in March is underway. No surprise to see Stefano Pina once again playing in that PSV kit, obviously representing that football club himself. But for Doolsta, what are we going to be looking out for at the start of this game, Dan? Confidence, possession?
He does like to play a little bit of possession, and I think when you're going up against a player like Stefano Pina, you really have to control the game. You can't allow him to be controlling the pace and just playing how he wants. You've got to try and take him out of his comfort zone, and I think if you can control the possession, you're going to do just that.
Well, Doolsta has the ball from the start of the game here, so a little bit of a chance to maybe settle into things here in London, just get used to the feeling of being on the stage once more. As we say, not had the greatest of performances so far in the events that he has qualified for. And that's a solid interception there from Sergio Ramos to win the ball back. But Stefano Pina, we always say we don't talk enough about him. I think it's that point now in the season where everyone expects him to perform, Dan.
I mean, his records speak for himself, really. I mean, of course, he is the current reigning PS4 champion of the world as well, only losing to Doster at the eWorld Cup. So we should be speaking about him every single event. And if we're not speaking about him, we need to be asking ourselves, why aren't we speaking about him? But the thing is, we have been, because he's been at every event. He's just been dominating the ones he's been at.
Oh, and it looks like he might be dominating from the start here in London. What a little passing play that was, and Kylian Mbappe, a lot of people's favourite team of the season for IAM. Team of the year for IAM, excuse me.
Not quite there.
Has broken the deadlock here, the left foot, the finesse shot past the goalkeeper. And that seemed pretty simple for Pina, to be honest with you, just to open up Doolsta's defences and find the angle for that shot.
And you do have to find these creative ways of trying to get a shot on goal at the moment with the way the current meta is, and a lot of these players like to play drop back, they play deep, they put players in the way. It makes it very hard to hit shots from outside the box, for example, and a lot of the passes are going to be intercepted. So Pina is very clever in the way he manipulates the pitch into trying to drag players out right, and then he'll play the ball down the left, and then he just finds that one player in the box. And you're completely right, if Kylian Mbappe is there, you know full well, if you take that shot, it's going to be going in my opinion, the best foot item in the game.
So Stefano Pina starting off how we ended last time he was here in London at the Gfinity Arena. Fantastic start coming in from the Belgian, but now on the response, it's Luka Modric. And the game is tied up at 1-1.
And those are the kind of goals we're seeing more and more as well. The kind of just quick 1-2s, hoping that your opponent dives in with a defender, really taking advantage of that tiny bit of space and then just smashing it into the top left-hand corner. You don't have to time those greens sometimes. If you just get the right amount of power, it does beat the keeper. And you saw there was a slight bit of movement from Stefano Pina as well. That little int of just prediction means that Doolsta was able to slot that one home.
So then the perfect response there from the man who's playing his straight in America. 1-1 then. Stefano Pina being shown, I should say, that he's going to be in for one tough game in this first round of the Swiss. Vieira coming forward, though, from the restart. Now, Hullet. Paqueta on the edge of the box, looking to find CR7. Interesting to see him playing in that right attacking midfield role. Maybe looking to isolate Marcelo, but Mbappe at the moment is looking to isolate the defender, but Sergio Ramos will bring it away here for Doolsta. And that's a little bit of a risky pass, but he gets away with it. Bated breath at the start of this.
And you can see Doolsta doesn't really want to give the ball away. He's being very reluctant to try and hoof the ball up the pitch.
But he has given it away, but luckily for him, he managed to win the ball back. And that's been a few sloppy passes here. Maybe a sign of nerves. But that doesn't look like a nervous ball over the top, as Cristiano Ronaldo now is in behind. There is a man over, but takes the shot with Modric. Looking to add a second, maybe, to his account. Maybe trying to catch Stefano Pina off guard there. Corner. Whipped in, and Rafael Varane gets that one up, and now Stefano Pina might have the chance to counter-attack.
It's nice to see Luka Modric being used a little bit more as well. When his Team of the Year FUT item was announced, everyone was amazed with the statistical value of him and how incredible a midfielder he was. However, his frame meant that a lot of people didn't really want to try him. But I think more people now with this current meta, they realise that the pass and move game, the being able to shoot from certain areas is very important.
Ooh, Neymar takes that one first time, didn't time it perfectly. But going back to your point there about Luka Modric, it's interesting to see him being used either in one of those central midfield roles, or we have seen the likes of Dax actually use him in one of those wide cam positions as well. And no surprise to see that. Such well-rounded stats, but the fact that he can track back as well when you've got 90 defending on that base stat, no surprise to see him being employed there, because he can get up and down the pitch and do the work at both ends.
And Stefano Pina just trying to lift that ball up, and oh my goodness, thought that was going to sail into the back of the net as well. And you will see that a lot today, of players trying to dink the ball up into the air, across that one to back post to Cristiano Ronaldo. It is one of the most common ways to score in FIFA at the moment, and it happened in real life as well. If you remember in the Champions League, we saw Cristiano Ronaldo do that. Marcelo, of course, usually the victim in FIFA at that left-back position.
Ronaldo absolutely flattened that left-back
I know.
in the Juve game. I felt a little bit sorry for him. I think every FIFA player in the world was kind of like, yeah, that's how we've been feeling for a while. It's interesting to see Marcelo still being used here by a lot of players. I'm making a case here. FUT Birthday Zebra, left back.
Maybe next event when the FUT Birthday items get introduced, we might see a little bit of change. I mean, Salah at left back, and that's something that we've got to talk about as well. Could be a possibility, who knows?
Chance here for Doolsta then. Neymar, he's moved the goalkeeper, and it's not good enough. And from one down, Doolsta has turned this game around here. It's Neymar, and beautiful baiting of the goalkeeper there, waiting for that movement before finding a finish into that top corner.
It's almost like a game of chicken sometimes when you get into that position. It's like there's a car driving at you. Are you going to move? Are you not going to move? You have to just wait. You have to be so patient. And it was just a nice little cricketer as well, from the left foot to the right, just to maybe even say to Pina, oh, maybe I'm going to shoot. And just seeing that little bit of animation of foot movement encouraged Pina to move the goalkeeper. And now Doolsta has a lead, and it's going to be how he can hold a lead. It's very difficult to do so against Pina.
And he's been doing a fantastic job of actually tearing the defence apart of Stefano Pina. We say Stefano Pina's kind of made his name on his defensive play and how solid he is at the back, but Doolsta, that's twice now that he's managed to break through and have clear-cut opportunities here against the Belgian.
And he was able to defend El Tornado cross attempt there from Pina as well. And often I feel like when players start attempting El Tornado crosses, it almost shows a little bit of frustration, like they're just going for the last resort of hoping they can get an El Tornado back post header. However, really well defended by Doolsta. If you notice the animation, you can step in.
Well, here's Ronaldo then, and look at the space here for Neymar. A chance to make it 3, and he makes it 3. It's been a long journey over here to London for Doolsta, but he has not missed a step. Look at this performance from him just before half-time. 3-1 now. Stefano Pina, what have you got?
And Doolsta has had very difficult opening games in Swiss formats in the tournaments we've seen him play. And it would be so important for him here to get a 1-0 start in this competition, to give him some confidence, give him some belief, because after going out of 2 Swiss rounds, you are not going to be believing in yourself. You're going to be thinking, oh, it's going to be the same again. I'm going to get the minimal amounts of Global Series ranking points. Maybe this is his tournament. This is where Doolsta can show up, because he is capable of greatness.
And we talk about how stacked the PS4 bracket is. Well, the number 2 in the world right now is currently down by 2. Van Dijk makes the interception, and to be honest, going forward, Stefano Pina's looked a little bit devoid of ideas so far, Dan. The player who's really been pushing the pace in this one has been Doolsta.
And I wonder, and this is only speculation, whether that is down to maybe a little bit of lack of practice from Stefano Pina. He did state on Twitter he wasn't going to be playing as much. He wanted to rest. He wasn't going to be trying to qualify for more tournaments. He was just going to be playing at the tournaments he's already qualified for. So maybe he's just not currently feeling it a little bit. Of course, we saw him in Singapore. He got to the PS4 semi-final, so there's not going to be an excuse there. But maybe he's just feeling his way into this tournament. Maybe he's feeling his way into this game, and we might see him come to life and see the more normal Stefano Pina as this game goes on.
The reason we're so shocked is because of his consistency throughout the season so far. As we say, second in the Global Series ranking points at the moment, behind Nicholas, who's holding down that top spot But Doolsta, I mean, this event arguably means more to him as far as the rest of his season is concerned. And Dan, you can see it in this first half performance here.
You're completely right. He's 61st in the Global Series rankings at the moment, and that is kind of the teetering point of, am I going to qualify, am I not going to qualify? He has 459 Global Series ranking points. We think maybe 600 is going to guarantee yourself, but again, that's me just speculating, me guessing from talking to pros and looking at the tournaments left. So he's got a lot to do.
Here comes Stefano Pina then. Needs to find a goal here to get this one back within range. Messi now around the corner to Mbappe. Dragged it back onto that right foot. A last second tackle there comes in from Doolsta. Mbappe though looking to get a shot away. Did time it well. But the shot was under pressure there from the defender, and De Gea had a fairly comfortable save there down to his right-hand side.
And I think that's a little bit more of Stefano Pina that we're used to seeing. Not being scared to use a couple of skill moves in the box, a couple of drag backs to try and beat the man, rather than trying to play constantly pass and move. What makes Pina an amazing player is his versatility, is him being able to switch things up when he needs to. He reads the game very quickly, and he hasn't really done that in the first half. So he's going to have to come to life here in half number 2.
Stefano Pina then wins the ball back here. Modric almost gets an interception there. On the ball there for Doolsta. Bullet coming forward, tries to invite the fullback into play. Sergio Ramos in at right back here for Stefano Pina, as we have seen a few times. Vieira then coming forward, needs to find a goal. CR7 then, great little passing move this from Stefano Pina, just pulling the defence left and right, looking for the opportunity to strike it. Messi might have that! He timed it well, but maybe just didn't have the angle for that shot there, Dan.
It's just on the turn. I think if he had been able to turn a little bit more, had his body shaped towards goal better, he might have been able to find that finish. And that was one of the changes we saw across the FIFA 19 season, as that probably would have gone in during the first iterations of patches, but then they made it more difficult with players turning their backs to goal. So it's about just familiarising yourself with the meta, getting used to shooting in different ways, but still very close for Stefano Pina. He's still 2 goals behind. As a reminder, there are 2 legs. This is leg number 1 of 2. So he does still have plenty of time to get things done here.
Lovely ball down the line then. Lionel Messi flicks it up, and this is what we've seen a lot from Stefano Pina, just looking to get that ball aerial, looking to get that ball into the box, isolate Marcelo at that back post, but the shot was pretty tame there. Not sure if it was a fully intended shot towards goal. Maybe looking for a fake shot or something like that. Comfortable save then for De Gea, and now Doolsta up the other end. Look at the running behind here from CR7. He's been found by R9. 1v1 against Ramos. Shows a little bit of it to the Spaniard. Not enough to make the tackle though. Vieira coming forward, tries to sneak that ball through. Prime icon moments for Iam in that midfield, and we're seeing a lot of that now. Vieira and Hullet, we saw a lot of them before, but now with those increased statistics on those new foot items, the prime icon moments, Dan, they've kind of re-solidified their position as the dynamic duo in midfield. Yeah,
there were some questions asked. Maybe Kante was going to come into things with his Team of the Year foot item, but never in doubt. I think Vieira and Hullet, they are staple in every team now, and they are going to be there for quite some time, probably right towards the end of the season at the eWorld Cup. But possession has been very much apparent for Doolsta. He has controlled this game.
Messi, though, drag back from him. And there is Vieira and Hullet combining there, just as the trigger was about to be pulled by the Argentine. Messi picks it up once more. Stefano Pina looking dangerous. Takes the shot on. Hullet again with the block. But consistent pressure coming in here from Stefano Pina. Messi now maybe looking for a chance to hit it on that left foot. He does get the chance. Doesn't time the shot though, and that one's going to sail wide of the upright.
Yeah, just a little bit too much power. And I think we're going to see a change of formation here as well. Stefano Pina just getting a little bit more attacking, knows that he wants to find another goal just to give him a better chance going into that second leg. I mean, I'd still say being 2 goals behind isn't the end of the world. We've seen so many games as of late in recent tournaments where 2-goal deficits have been overturned quite comfortably, it would seem. However, Doolsta's possession, it really is dominating this game. He is frustrating Stefano Pina, in my opinion. However, Doolsta needs to be careful that he doesn't resort to just turtling up and absorbing the pressure too much in these final stages of this first leg.
Yeah, especially now with the change to the 4-2-2 as well. We know how good of a counter-attacking formation it can be with those wide cams and with those 2 men up top as well. It really can put together some fast passing plays, but does have a little bit less cover in certain areas defensively, and one area that he's looking to exploit here is full-back position of Stefano Pina, but Marcelo gets back comfortably there. Manages to just about win that foot race there with Kylian Mbappe.
Yeah, one of the advantages of playing Marcelo, though, is he can go toe-to-toe with Mbappe in the majority of situations. So he does have his downsides, but he has positives too.
Stefano Pina then, down by 2. He's a little bit lucky there as that ball was intercepted. Ronaldo gets tackled by Rafael Varane. Fantastic bit of defending there from the team of the year foot iron. Vieira now, you can see Stefano Pina just looking for that opening, prodding at the defences. Pele now fresh on the pitch, 99 rated, prime icon moments. Can't give him the opportunity to strike it because there's more than likely going to end up in a goal. The fake shot there, the little Cruyff turn.
Oh my goodness!
I was going to say, the little Cruyff turn bought him a bit of space, but unfortunately for him, the attempted crossfield ball just struck one of the players and forced De Gea into a fantastic reaction save. And it takes this one short then. Messi looking towards the edge of the box. Ferdinand. Constant pressure here from Stefano Pina at the end of this first leg. Pele strikes it. Ball falls back to him. Little scoop turn around the corner, times it again. And you have to say that Doster's really been holding on in the second half, Dan.
Yep, he is very much just trying to put everything behind a wall now. Stefano Pina again resorting to just trying to nip that ball into the box with a cross. But this is something that is the danger in this last couple of moments, is Doolsta does have 3 players waiting for the counter-attack.
Big tackle, though, from Rio Ferdinand. There's one possession back here for Pina, but talking of big tackles, Virgil van Dijk has made a few of these this season, not only in FIFA 19, but for Liverpool as well in real life. Absolute mountain at the back, and what a ball that is now. Big chance here. Cristiano Ronaldo with the heel-to-heel, lays it back, and Eusebio struck it. And you feel like maybe a 3-goal difference, Dan, would have been too much. Doolsta recycling this attack. Pull it now into CR7. De Gea forced into the save.
Oh, Stefano Pina is holding brave with his goalkeeper movement now as well, because he's been tempted to move it across. Corner comes in, De Gea catches it. And maybe one last chance to get a goal for Stefano Pina in this first leg.
Mbappe, he's in behind his man here. And look at this, Cristiano Ronaldo's in the middle. Messi's at the back post as well. Stefano Pina needs to make the right decisions here. Mbappe might get a second bite of the cherry, and he does! In stoppage time, Stefano Pina reduces the deficit to just 1 goal between these two.
And I mean, you can look at his face, he knows he didn't deserve it. I'm going to be honest, that was not a goal he deserved. He tried a croqueta with Mbappe, it didn't work. Doolsta tackled him, but Doolsta very unfortunate that the ball got given back to Mbappe. But if you give someone a chance like that, he's going to take it, of course. And he is gifted a way back into this tie now. Very, very unlucky for Doolsta, but still,
it's gonna hurt.
Pina did pressure him.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to hurt for Doolsta there. You know, he had the opportunity at the other end to make it 3 goals going into our second leg, but conceding in the last minute, it breaks your mentality. You have to stay so strong. We were talking about the mental side of FIFA esports, and the guys are saying, you know, on the desk beforehand, you know, Pina took that break because it is so demanding across the season. It has been a long old season now, and with every single event that's going by as well, the pressures are going up for the likes of Doolsta to qualify for the eWorld Cup finals. But little moments like that, you've got to be able to bounce back from them. You can't let them get in your head.
It's because going into this next game for Doolsta, all he's going to be thinking about is, I could be 3-1 up. I could have a 2-goal advantage. But now with just a 1-goal advantage, that completely changes how you want to approach the game. You don't know if you're just going to sit back and play possession, or do you have to go at your opponent? Maybe he has to go attacking and find more goals now. It's going to be difficult for him.
These are the replays then from our first leg. You see Stefano Pina coming out of the traps hot there with that first goal from Kylian Mbappe. But this sort of 20-minute period of play here from Doolsta really showed what it's about, Dan.
Yeah, it was a lot of pass and move action, really utilising Modric in that CAM role. I really enjoyed the way Doolsta's been playing a game of football, a game of FIFA at the moment, and that was a beautiful croqueta, just to be able to shift it onto that right foot. Of course, with Neymar, it doesn't matter if you hit it with his left or his right, but it was more about what it did to the goalkeeper. Yeah,
and every single goal here you can see from Doolsta as he takes that 3-1 lead just before half-time. He really is just ripping the defences of Stefano Pina apart.
And then the second half was all about trying to break the wall down for Stefano Pina, going completely Chris Jericho and just hoping that he was able to do so. But unfortunately, he couldn't for so long. Doolsta did fantastically to defend. He really did put everything he could in the way. And, I mean, I mentioned it before, I think he was unfortunate not to go in with a 3-1 advantage at the end of the first leg.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. You know, he defended stoutly towards the end of this game, but just unfortunately for him, that little break at the end of the game. You can see this is the chance. This is the big chance here at the end of the game. Ronaldo isolates his man, finds the ball back to Eusebio, but just couldn't find that finish. And then from here, Dan, I think he defended the corner and straight up the other end. Mbappe gets away down this left-hand side. Was a man free at the back post. Bad decisions there, you could say, from Stefano Pina on reflection, but at the end of the day, it ended up in the back of the net. How can you call a decision that ends up in a goal a bad one?
Yeah, I mean, Stefano Pina will just be thinking, all right, I got away with that there. He didn't know what he wanted to do. In my opinion, I would have seen a lot of players just use left bumper or L1 and cross that ball to the back post. Simple header for whoever's waiting there. There was so much space, but he was in two minds about it. And because he was in two minds, he found himself in this tricky situation. He got away with it, yeah, and that's a blessing, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. It's now just one goal between the two players. And based on the first game that we've just seen here, how do you see the second one kind of turning out? Because we saw the first half really was early on controlled by Stefano Pina, but then that burst of life that came in from Doolsta showed us, you know, what he can do going forward. The second half, it was kind of, he was sitting back a little bit, Stefano Pina controlling the pace. Do you feel like Stefano Pina is going to be able to come out of the traps and kind of continue that momentum? Or do you feel like Doolsta's going to try and reapply that pressure going forward that we saw from him in that first game?
I feel like it's going to depend on how Stefano Pina approaches the game tactically. Is he going to stick to the 4-2-2 that we saw him change to in the second half, which was showing so much more promise going forward? Or is he going to play it a little bit more slow and go for the 4-2-3-1 that he started with? So it's all going to come down to the tactics that both of these players start with in this game.
Well, let's find out what's going to happen then. We are into our second leg now. As you can see, if you're just joining us, one goal. The difference between the two players after the first leg, a late goal from Kylian Mbappe for Stefano Pina. Pulled it back to just that one goal difference. Doster now from the start. Vieira round the corner to R9. Eusebio. Bit of space here for Vieira. And the passing play is superb once more, and what a goal that is from Doolsta. 4-2 now on aggregate. And the memories of that goal conceded at the end of our first leg are going to be vanquished.
Just washed away now, and he can start to feel like he's cruising again with that 2-goal advantage. It's just quick passes. I feel like with this current meta, with the amount of defenders you have to play it around, sometimes you do just have to hammer that pass button constantly and just say, look, I hope that my player is going to be in the right position to take a shot once he receives it. And you have to make a decision sometimes before the ball's even got to that player. You have to be reading the game, looking at where the defenders are. Do I have time to shoot when I get this ball? He saw that there was one player defending that was pressuring him a little bit. He managed to get that shot away, and now he's got that 2-goal advantage.
And he's been so clinical in front of goal. I mean, he hasn't had a huge amount of chances, but the chances that he has had, as you can see, at 4-2, he has done well at sticking in the back of the net. Stefano Pina then on the back foot once more. We've seen him be able to come back from these situations, and Neymar's in all sorts of space, and that is going to be a goal almost immediately answering back. 4-3 now on aggregate. And Neymar could have put that wherever he wanted.
Stefano Pina again, though, manipulating the pitch. He was playing so much down the right. He noticed how many defenders were kind of swarming him, and he played it back into the midfield, recycled, and noticed Neymar was completely free because everything had been dragged to the other side of the pitch where he was originally attacking. So a good analysing of the game from Stefano Pina there, and somewhat frustrating for Doolsta, I imagine, but he did pull his right back out of position, and he was punished for it.
So back to how we started off this second leg then. One goal between the two teams. One goal between the two players. 1-1 on aggregate. All the ones.
All the ones. And a 1, which is what Pina's going to be searching for again. He wants another first place, I feel. Even though his last two tournaments have been somewhat disappointing, a semi-final and a quarter-final, I still think they're good, but we know what he's capable of, right? And maybe London is the place that we can actually see these PS4 players really show up. And there's going to be always more chance when people look at this tournament, and no Tex being at this tournament, they're going to be saying, all right, I do have a chance of winning this one.
Well, Doolsta's looking to carve a chance of his own now. Eusebio back to Vieira. Good job of keeping possession here, just not giving it away to Stefano Pina. Both players recognising how dangerous their opponent is on the attack. Bit of space here for Vieira. Neymar now floating into space, heel to heel from him. Spin away from the defender as well, trying to drag one of those CDMs out of position, but we know how good Stefano Pina is at not overcommitting with those CDMs until the time is right, and there is one of them, Ruud Gullit making the interception.
And those are the passes that Doolsta's been looking for every time, though. Just that final killer ball that he knows if he gets it to one of his attacking players waiting in the box, it's going to be very likely a goal, but Pina's had to hold strong with his defensive play there to make sure he cuts it out.
Mbappe then to Messi. There is space here for Neymar. Can he get the opportunity for the strike. Didn't manage to quite shift it far enough to get a clear strike on goal. The defender managed to get a block on it, and now the corner in towards the front post! And now it's 4-4 on aggregate. 2-1 to Pina in this game, and it's Ronaldo at the front post who buries the header.
And Stefano Pina, he's been looking for like crosses throughout the game, and we know how deadly Cristiano Ronaldo can be from the corner as well. If he has space on that front post, he is going to be able to find a goal. Doolsta, unfortunately, not able to get a man to defend him. And sometimes, even if you manage to put one man there, two men there, Cristiano Ronaldo, he leaps above them so comfortably.
So then, Stefano Pina really showing his mettle here in his first game in the March LQE. Really hasn't had it his way. Doolsta has been fantastic in this game. But Stefano Pina once again showing what we call championship form, Dan. Finding ways to win when you're not playing at your best. And Stefano Pina here has managed to bring it back to within one goal of finding a victory from being down by 3 at the start of this game. Ronaldo now, space for Messi. Does he go for the strike? Tries to go for that low-driven near post. De Gea makes the save. And now you might see some changes coming in from the other side of things.
And we're not typically used to seeing Stefano Pina in these high-scoring games. He likes to play in games where he wins 2-0 sometimes, 1-0. Speaking of high-scoring, I'm being told elsewhere, NYC Chris against Lost in the Waves was 5-5 after leg 1.
I hear that name and I'm not surprised anymore.
It's now tied up 7-7.
7-7.
Lost in the Waves just finds a way of finding goals. It is scary what that man can do on a FIFA pitch.
I want to see his starting 11 because I'm pretty sure he's just given up on defending these days. He's just playing 11 strikers. That's it. It's just everyone.
Well, I mean,
get forward.
After FUT Birthday, you probably might be able to do that because you can just put their centre-backs.
You can play Van Dijk, striker guard, and you can play Ibra. I mean, yeah, I mean, we can break that down another time, but sticking to this game at the moment because this one is about as tight as you could possibly get. 4-4 on aggregate. Messi now is turning, and he's found the ball across, and that is a fantastic goal from Stefano Pina. That is what he can do in front of goal.
Stefano Pina starting to come alive now, getting a little bit more confident in the box, utilising drag-backs, croquetas, everything that he can mix together. Unfortunately, Sergio Ramos just not able to get in the way. I think got a calf on it. Wasn't enough to stop the goal from Kylian Mbappe. And now this is where Pina usually shows his dominance. Once he has a lead in the latter stages of a game, or a tie in the second leg, he does start to dominate possession.
And I can't give this man enough credit. The way that he's come back in this game, and the way that as those seconds have ticked by, Dan, he's just got better and better and better. That was a fantastic goal coming in from him there. And a great way to go into the lead. And now it's up to Doolsta. Plenty of time still left in this game, though. Neymar turning. Vieira, there is space now for Neymar. Great ball into the box, chance to equalise. Good goalkeeper movement there. It was offside, so even if that shot found the back of the net, wasn't going to count.
Yeah, I was going to say it wasn't a timed shot anyway, but I think he knew he was offside, so he didn't really try and finish it. But signs of promise again for Doster, and Pina needs to be very aware of this pass and move style that Doster's approaching. And it's very difficult to defend against sometimes, because if you do drag that man just the slightest bit out of position, your opponent is going to take advantage of it. That's what Doster's done fantastically thus far.
Doolsta coming forward once more. We've already seen when Stefano Pina was behind, he had that change of formation up his sleeve. What is Doolsta's plan B here if he has to chase a game? Going to be the 4-2-2, 4-4-2 maybe, that we saw a lot in Singapore.
I think I'd like to see more 4-4-2, to be honest. But I'm a very traditional man with my football. I'm a very English man. I like the 4-4-2.
Also, we're both Arsenal fans from the Invincible days, and seemed to work pretty well back then. But anyway, less than that.
Although we did see 4-3-3 last night for England, it worked quite well. Maybe people can implement that. I like the 4-3-3 in FIFA as well. It really gives you some space out on the wings.
Good megabit, Lost in the Waves.
Yep.
Both used that formation very successfully. Certainly some options here for a lot of players. It's interesting to see as the season develops, that meta game constantly evolving, but Neymar now inside the box has found R9, and he's looking to find an equaliser here. He gets around the corner, manages to find the ball back, and oh, he gambled. And it came up his number there, Stefano Pina, just as the referee was thinking about blowing the half-time whistle. That was the chance there for Doolsta. He'd worked the situation beautifully, but just chose left. But he could have gone right.
And that really shows the importance of goalkeeper movement and, as you said, gambling with which way you want to put that goalkeeper. If Stefano Pina had left him in the middle there, that was a guaranteed goal for Doolsta. So having that confidence, taking that risk, just shows these high-level pressure situations in FIFA 19.
Half-time whistle does go then in our second leg, and Stefano Pina has turned it around. Hasn't had much of the ball there, Dan. You can see Doolsta with around 60% possession in that game, which is somewhat of a surprise when you look at the scoreline, but Stefano Pina, every time he started to go forward now, has started looking like the Stefano Pina that we know.
And I feel like if he's going to get 2-goal advantage, that might just kill off the tie completely. Once he's got that cushion, once he's feeling comfortable, that's when he really shines. But Doolsta has so much left in him. You can see when Doolsta's going forward, he's so close to getting that final ball. And if he manages to puncture the defense of Stefano Pina, he should be rewarded with another goal. So Pina's going to have to be, he's going to have to keep his eye on the ball here.
Just one goal the difference between the two players then. Doolsta needs to keep that in mind himself. Can't overcommit too early here, because before you know it, as you say, that 2-goal lead could be spoken into existence. And that makes life so much more difficult for Doolsta. 1 goal's always a difficult situation to have to claw back from Stefano Pina. 2 goals, as you say, Dan, might be too much, but Neymar's coming forward here. Couple of cricketers, almost a third, got past Ferdinand. But just not enough to get past, even now, one of the best defenders on the game.
And I don't know how much I have to stress, or how often I have to stress, how hard it is to defend against a cricketer. I've seen people string together 7, 8, 9 cricketers and beat 4 different defenders. And if you don't time it perfectly when you lunge in, if you don't take that risk, you can be absolutely crucified by a player using a cricketer. So very good stuff from Pina to contain it very early on there.
Pina then going to play this possession-based football you would expect. Try and not give anything away in this game. Make every single opportunity his own. Good tackle there from Doolsta, but the ball just falls back here to Stefano Pina. And you can almost see his brain ticking, Dan, how to break down this defense. And one way is to try and bully your way through with Cristiano Ronaldo, but Ruud Gullit, whether can match him for strength in certain situations, does manage to finally get the ball away. And now Doolsta, as we approach the last half hour of our first game here, has the chance to come forward.
And I think this is a perfect game for us to start the tournament on as well, because both of these players, in my opinion, play a good amount of FIFA. And if you're wondering what I mean by that, there are some players, of course, who will just constantly run down the wing and just cross the ball in back post. Try and take advantage of some of the better ways to score that are difficult to defend against. However, both of these players, they're so good on the ball. They're so good at keeping the ball away from their opponent with various skill moves, and it's really fantastic to watch. And I want to give more credit to players who play like that as well, that have managed to master the art of dribbling. Because it's not easy to dribble on this game, because players can pressure you with several players. But a simple ball roll, a cricketer, a drag back, if you put them all together, you can keep the ball away from your opponent. You've just got to know how to do so, and you've got to read the game.
We've seen the introduction of a player we didn't see last event. That is the prime icon moments. R9 up top now.
Oh my goodness. Sorry, I've just got news in. 9-7 now to Lost in the Waves.
9-7
against New York City's Chris.
He's definitely playing 11 strikers. But anyway, back to this game. Doolsta with the free kick now in an incredibly dangerous area. Now we have seen players take these on direct. We have seen short routines here, and it is Neymar who's going to take it direct. It falls to Marcelo.
Anyone else?
Actually strikes his own player there, devastatingly for Doolsta. And that means possession is going to be back in Stefano Pina's hands. You know, if he has it his way, that's going to be another 5 to 10 minutes off of that game clock before Doolsta even gets a chance to go forward once more.
And time management is something that we talk about a lot, and controlling the game, controlling the possession. And whilst Doolsta has done that in various places, if we look back to the end of the first game, he didn't have to go for that final attack. He could have controlled the ball, he could have gone to the corner, he could have finished 3-1 up. If he had done so, the game would have been 4-4 at the moment.
That was a huge tackle there. He committed a man into midfield to try and break up the passing patterns of Stefano Pina, and Doolsta's done so well to win the ball back. Tries to squeeze the ball around the corner. I think that will just trickle out for a corner here for Doolsta. So a chance from a set piece. We saw Stefano Pina with Cristiano Ronaldo at that front post, managed to find a goal from these kind of situations. Modric now takes it short. Cricketta in towards the back post. Varane's there. Well defended, though. Back out wide now. Ramos. Vieira around the corner to the 97 rated R9. Marcelo looking for space. Look at the men behind the ball, though, for Stefano Pina. Only CR7 up top, ahead of the play. And it's up to Doolsta now to try and break down this wall of Pina.
And it's almost a reverse of the previous game where Pina was having to do the same against Doolsta. However, we often credit with Pina and his defensive display. He is one of the players who can get away with playing like this and do it so successfully as well. And then there's only 15 minutes remaining, and Doolsta knows every time he gives this ball away, he's not going to be seeing it for quite some time unless he gets a little bit fortunate or if he pressures hard. And you can see he's switching from man to man. He wants to just win that ball back, but if he does so, he's going to be dragging players out of position, which will allow Pina to just put a ball in behind.
Dangerous times here for Doolsta then. Look at the run there on the wing. I think it was R9 who was making that run for Stefano Pina. He wasn't used smartly, in my opinion, with just 12 minutes left on the clock. Pull it now going forward. Finds the ball through to Neymar. Good tackle, though, from Doolsta. And now a chance to go forward here. Down by 1 at the moment, but there is space out wide here for Neymar. CR7's found space. 10 minutes left on the clock. Ball in towards the back post. De Gea comes and claims, and that's what you want from your goalkeeper in those situations, just taking all the pressure off of you, coming out and claiming that one.
And unfortunately, it was the wrong way around. It was Ronaldo crossing to Marcelo rather than Marcelo crossing to Ronaldo. It might have seen a better result if it was the opposite. But now it's going to be possession once again for Pina, and I think Doolsta knows now it's going to be one last chance, maybe 2 if he's lucky, but he still has to defend this current attack.
Mbappe then with a couple of cricketers managed to get round his man. He's got round the edge of Virgil van Dijk as well. Not easy to do. Doolsta defends, though. And Stefano Pina, let's take ourselves back to London last time we were here, where he picked up that championship. How many times did we see him going forward in the last few minutes with a goal advantage just to go up the other end and concede? He almost threw it away. He went all the way to penalties. He gave his opponents those chances. Are we going to see him learn from that here in London? Or are we going to see him present Doolsta with one more chance to go forward?
It's an element of pride for some of these players. They don't want to just run the ball into the box, even though it is, into the corner, sorry, even though it is a very strategical way of managing the game. Sometimes you just want to get that goal and you just want to finish the game off there and then. And
this might be the chance to get that goal, but Stefano Pina decides instead to use his fullback, keep possession of the ball. Marcelo now going forward, just biding his time here, and that is going to be a pause coming in from Stefano Pina as well. Changing formation here, get as many players behind the ball as he possibly can, just to see this out. And the fact that we are now in stoppage time, Doolsta's got to win the ball pretty much from this throw-in, and he's got to go forward as quickly as possible.
Yeah, he knows this is do or die now for him. And if he doesn't secure a goal in this final minute, it will be another 0-1 start for him in a Swiss round. And yes, okay, he is playing against Stefano Pina. Yes, he is the second best PS4 player in the world currently in terms of Global Series rankings. He is the reigning runner-up from the eWorld Cup. But he did have a lead. He was 3-1 up, and I think that will definitely be playing in his mind.
I mean, there's 2 ways to look at it, isn't it? You know, first game here in Swiss, first game here in London. He's given the second best player in the world a hell of a game. But he hasn't got across the line, and that's been the story for him every time that he's got to events so far. So Doolsta's got to have a strong head on his shoulders here as he heads into his second game, unless there's another twist in the tail here. Last attack of the game then potentially for Doolsta. He has possession though, so there is a chance here. Needs to play this one perfectly. Look at the space out wide here for Marcelo. Marcelo has managed to get the ball back, look to whip it in towards that back post.
Corner though.
And with time dwindling down, this is the last attack of the game here for Doolsta. Needs to make it count. Van Dijk towards the back post. No one can get a touch on it. Stefano Pina will take the win in the first round of Swiss here on the PlayStation 4, but boy, was he made to work.
Stefano Pina, I think he'll be relieved that he was able to get a win there in his first round. He was gifted a goal at the end of the first leg, and I think Doolsta knows that he had a real opportunity there to shake things up early on at the tournament here in London.
It certainly was a tight game, but Stefano Pina, as we say, somehow some way manages to find a win in a situation where certainly at the start of the game, Dan, he was not playing his best FIFA, but we did see what he can produce. We did see that steal as well once he gets that lead. The question for me is, can anyone come from behind against him? Because it seems like when he has those leads, that's when he thrives. That's when he plays his best FIFA.
It's going to be very difficult to do. Stefano Pina, a fantastic player. And another question that you're probably asking is, why have I got an iPad in my hand? Well, it's
a good question.
The reason is I've got all of the results here and I've got all the scores, and I can give you a little bit of a rundown of what we saw. We saw Desari, of course, had a bye. He didn't have to compete in that one. Rebel Stokes took down Big Bit Frank 5-3, so that's a good result for him. Dax, unfortunately, fell 3-2 versus Maxi. So Dax, one of those players who we've been expecting to perform very well at this tournament, he fell early. Elsewhere, we saw, of course, Lost in the Waves. And let me just check the PS4 side of things. He won that game 9-7 in the end, is where it finished.
Ridiculous scoreline.
Footwiz Marco won 8-2 versus Malzen. For Filza beat Web Nasri. And if we look at Nicholas as well, wonder how he went on. Nicholas is currently still playing, I'm being told, but I think he's losing that one 6-1, if I am reading that correctly. I feel like this is wrong. However, he is currently losing 6-1.
Wow, okay. Well, yeah. Nicholas is certainly struggling, but Stefano Pina is one player that somehow managed to... You have to double-check that.
Just triple-checking.
Just double-checking it. But obviously, Stefano Pina showing championship form here. Last time he was here, he picked up that check in that first place. But I want to talk about the man that he just played against, because he gave him a really good game there. Super, super tight between them. Doolsta, do you think he can make it out of the Swiss this tournament?
Yes, I think he can make it out of the Swiss. Whether he will or not, I mean, that remains to be seen. But he's definitely got the potential, and I think he showed in that game he is good enough against the best.
Okay, then. Well, that's going to do it all from our first game here. We're going to give it back to Tom and the guys on the desk to break it all down.
Yeah. Thank you very much to Mark and Dan Gaskin. Beautiful work. Oh, look, they were there, but then they're over there. Oh, that is the beauty of the Gfinity Arena. Joining me on the desk, Carl Walker, Harry Channon. Let's talk about that result. Mark summed it up beautifully, in my opinion, saying, look, you don't have to be on your best game. You just need to grind out that result, and that's exactly what Pina did there. We know he can play better, but he got the win. That's all important.
That's what the pros do. That's what the people who are at the top of their game. They can be behind, but they know what they have to do. They can adapt. They can look at it from an outsider of the game and go, all right, what do I need to do to change this up? And that is what we saw he did there. Stefano Pina, never in doubt. We both said we'd go with him for the win. At one point I thought, oh, but I did see him change and switch it up. Yeah. And that's what the best of the best can do, and that is why he is up there.
When it's not clicking, you've got to find ways to win, haven't you?
You absolutely do, and that's, like you said, Carl, some of the best players in the world take time to figure out their opponents. And even though in the first leg he went down 3-1, Pina still, you know, believed in himself, and the changes that he made in the first leg he carried through. He actually went down 1-0 in this second leg, but after that, I mean, it was pretty clear cut. And honestly, the difference maker in this entire two-legged match we saw between Doster and Pina came down to the 89th minute in the first leg, where it was 3-1 to Doolsta, and he had a chance in the 89th minute to make it 4-1. Didn't, and what Pina did, took the ball, went up the other end, scored himself. From then on, it's 3-2, game on, and it gives Pina a chance here in the second leg to again, make the adjustments that he made in the first leg, and I mean, he came out on top, so it was obviously working for him. And like Dan Gaskin said during the cast, you know, when Pina has the lead and he has the ball, it's so difficult to get it away from him, and you have to be so clinical when you play against him. Otherwise, you're just not going to get back into it.
Yeah, no, indeed. Well put, Harry. I've got to say that you have to work out how your opponent is playing and how dangerous they are. Is that the difference between the top pros and those that quite haven't found the top level because they're not able to work out their opponent quickly enough?
I think that's something that we've seen time and time again, whether we're talking about Desari, whether you're talking about Tex, whether you're talking about Pina. These are the players who will just take a minute when they're losing and go, okay, what do I need to do? What can I exploit from my opponent's weaknesses, and how do I score from that? And we saw that's what Pina did in this scenario. He wasn't playing the best. He wasn't doing it in Singapore, but he took some time out and he's going, okay, how do I get better? We saw him do that within the game, and I think that's why he's such a technically brilliant player.